We're live. It says you are live.
I am alive.
Thank you. That's good. That's always a good thing. You know what I didn't do? The thing you told me to do.
What?
Add some stuff.
Ugh.
But I'm going to do it right now.
But now it's putting us behind.
No, it's not. It's fine. All right. Welcome, everyone, to this week's episode of Hollywood Matrimony Live, where you get to watch me eat on camera. Because that's what I do anyway. You know what? This is just like a family show. We're just hanging out talking about movies. Thank you so much for watching us live on Facebook and YouTube. You can also find us on Instagram and Twitter. Just go look for Hollywood Matrimony. And most importantly, don't forget to check out our website, hollywoodmatrimony.com. I can't talk right now.
I know that site.
Anyways, the best thing on there is if you hit the contest button, there's free stuff. We'll be talking about that a little bit later. Let me get my stuff all organized over here. I have so many things. I have snacks. I've got drinks. Turn my phone off. No, that's the thing is never early. We're always like a few minutes late.
I know.
Which is part of the charm of the show, quite honestly. Yes. You know, you're just like, oh, hey, it's those guys. Great.
Sign on. Let's do this.
I know, but I'm still in the middle of like my nut. I'm having a snacky time.
All right, well, I'm ready.
Okay, I'm sharing now. Come watch the show.
I already did all that.
I'm going to share here. I'm going to tell my friends, come watch the show.
That's where things fall apart, because you ain't got no friends.
I know.
Okay. All right. What are we talking about today, man?
So, we have so many things to talk about.
We got a variety of things to discuss.
I like that. I like that we got variety.
And yet this is another week where everything except for one thing we both watched.
Yeah.
Which is unheard of in our situation.
It really is. Oh my gosh, this dog.
He's trying to
get settled.
Okay. So, what would you like to talk about?
All right, so let's talk about some movies. Where are they? They're right here. There are so many things to talk about, and this one I didn't see, but there's a couple I did. So you tell me
it first,
if you want to.
You know, the way while you're doing the other stuff.
Yeah.
But you're still doing.
Right?
Yeah,
I can't really do it right now, but what to do next time.
Well, that means I have nothing to show then because of you.
Oh, you don't have it all?
No, I told you they didn't send me those, so I can't show them.
I'll do it.
That's why I told you to do this yesterday.
Oh, I thought you just told me right now.
No, I didn't just tell you right now. I told you yesterday, and then I reminded you.
Well, I can do it.
An hour and a half ago.
I can do it. Don't worry.
It doesn't matter. Throw up whatever. We'll talk about the first one.
We're having a communication.
So the first movie I'm going to talk about, because somebody's annoying me, is the only one I saw alone. Now, technically, she saw part of this movie.
I did.
A few weeks ago or a month ago or whatever. We started to watch an online screener. And then it was cutting in and out. It wasn't watching right. It was kind of weird at the time, and so we just both bailed on it at the time. It's a movie called Wander. It stars Aaron Eckhart and Tommy Lee Jones, who, fun fact, both played Two-Face in the Batman franchise.
True.
So this is the battle of two faces, even though they're not actually fighting in the movie. I sat down. I got a physical copy of it finally, so I sat down to watch it. It's kind of a murder mystery whodunit kind of thing. It's very similar to Memento. But it's not as good as Memento. But the whole premise of the movie is this guy who was like a cop or something. He's like a PI now, or vice versa, I think. But he lost his family, and now right now his parents people are him. He thinks somebody killed him. Or different stuff. So he's like,
always
like when he goes somewhere, if he uses his cell phone, whatever, he has this little device that shows trackers. Knocks out cameras or whatever. He like scans people if they come near him. He does like this podcast radio thing with Tommy Lee Jones out in this desert place where he lives in like a little trailer away from the world, you know. So there's a murder. The movie opens with this car accident, this car blowing up, and all of a sudden this lady running and gets shot, seemingly. But you don't see who shoots her. You don't see any weapons. You don't see anything. She's just running, and all of a sudden it looks like and she hits the ground. That's where we start. And so he's basically asked to come in because it's a similar crime involved in his one that he tried to work on. And so he decided some of the evidence and stuff is similar. So he ends up going to help try to solve the mystery of this lady's daughter being killed.
Okay.
And a whole bunch of different things. And a lot of characters not who they say they are or seemingly. Then there's a lot of twists and turns. Well, what makes it interesting because once you get past that initial slowness, it actually picks up and becomes a pretty decent like murder mystery thing. But what happens is he's on the edge of a mental breakdown. Excuse me. So it's hard to tell what's real and what's not. Is this
So
paranoia
it is
real?
Memento.
Is the things that happen actually what happened? Because there's a whole scenario of things that happen kind of at the end, where then it's unfolded that it happened a completely different way. But then something else happens in another different way, but then all of it goes back to the way it happened originally. So it's very interesting on the different elements they use, all the way to the point to the end where you
don't know.
You have an answer, but you don't at the same time. Is it something that he really went through all this? Did he solve anything? Was there a bigger conspiracy? All that kind of stuff.
There's always a conspiracy.
So it's an interesting film. I actually enjoyed it once I was able to sit and really let it go. But it is a little slow starting to get there. So you have to sit through a lot of stuff that seems like this movie's not going anywhere. But then once it gets into it, especially that last half, it gets pretty good. So Wander's not too bad. It's available now on the DVD.
On the Divd?
On the Divd from Paramount. I think it's on digital and on demand as well.
Okay,
so you can check it out. It's also got Heather Graham in it.
That's random.
Well, I forgot the other person that was in it.
Okay, because it's the two Faces.
Yes, Aaron Eckhart, Tommy Lee Jones, Heather Graham. Those are the big ones. I think your lady from Vikings is in it too.
Oh, she's in
everything now.
Yeah, because now she's not doing Vikings.
Yeah, I think she's in it as well.
So she's had time to do everything.
So, moving on.
All right.
What else we got?
Well, we've got many things. Where do you want to go?
I don't care. Why don't we talk about that one?
This one? This one?
Because it kind of fell in the same category as this one.
Yeah.
So while you're doing that, I'll set this one up and then we'll discuss it.
Oh, go ahead. I'm ready.
Oh, you have all the other stuff ready?
No, I'm working on it.
Well, I'm saying while you're still working stuff, I can set things up.
It's okay.
Don't make me open this.
No, and this is the thing. I show up in the movie room and this thing's sitting here. Like, really? You're going to try to send me to wherever?
Who bought this?
I did, reluctantly.
It's a Hellraiser cube, because I've been wanting a cube because we have a lot of cool Halloween stuff, and I want an actual prop. But she refuses to buy the prop herself, but she did buy me like this Rubik's Cube version.
It's not okay.
She goes, this should make you happy. I'm like, it doesn't. I mean, it makes me happy to own this, but it hasn't deterred me from buying the other one. So we get in here. I put this purposely. It's been in here for days. I put it right in front of her little workstation over here.
No.
She immediately had the exact response I thought she was going to be like, what is this doing? No. So I take it and I start going,
You better not open it. The chatter thing's going to come get me.
She's going to do an impression now, ladies and gentlemen, of Chatterbox from Hellraiser.
This is not.
1, 2, 3, go.
It's going to come eat me.
Next, she'll be doing an impression of Chewbacca. That will be the end of all impressions forever.
Until Kong and Godzilla.
So our next film basically falls in the same category as Wander, as a movie we
tried to watch this. It kept freezing.
Further into this movie, but the screening link was bad. It was
freezing and the sound was skipping. It was just horrible.
It's this movie called Dreamland, starring Finn Cole, Margot Robbie. Ironically enough, it has
Ragnar.
What's his name? Actual name?
I don't know. Ragnar Lothbrok.
No, that is not his name. Oh my god, I had it until you said it.
I'm sorry, Vikings.
Well, I could just look.
I like that all the people from Catherine Winnick was the other lady, the other thing. But I like everybody now that Vikings has ended. Everybody's
he's been off the show for a while.
Free to do some stuff. He has.
Travis Fimmel.
Yeah, Travis Fimmel.
Who was, I liked that guy before Vikings, but that's kind of what he kind of was big at. And
I didn't know.
Once he was no longer on the show, I'd kind of lost interest in the show because I thought he was part to make the show.
He was.
But anyway, he's in this movie as well. And it's another one, like we said, we started watching it, we couldn't get through it, couldn't finish it. We weren't sure if it was because the movie was a problem, if it was just a screening link, if it was just sound, it was just all frustrating. So once again, I got the same thing, physical copy of it. We sat down and said, let's finish this movie. So we dived in and finished it. So the movie's about, it's in Depression era, I believe. And it follows this young boy and his family, or young man, and his family, and they're living on this just poor land, like a lot of people are. And
we're in the Dust Bowl, I feel like.
And he finds this young lady, played by Margot Robbie, in his barn, who was on the run from law, from a bank robbery gone bad.
She's on the run.
Yeah. And then they start kind of a
friendship,
romance, manipulation, weird situation. That's where we're at.
There you go.
So, what did you think of the film?
Overall, I thought it was just very slow.
It is very slow.
Seemed to drag. And I wish there had been a little bit more movement, because at some points I was like, man, is this over yet? And I didn't want to feel that way, because I think everyone in this movie is really good.
Yeah, everybody's good. I really like Margot Robbie in the movie too, because she has that woman in distress, but also crazed persona, and also powerful woman, all at the same thing, depending on what level you're seeing her at and what she's manipulating. And she's great in the movie, and the rest of the cast are good as well. But I agree with you. It's very slow. The last act is really good.
Yes, finally we get to the third act, and things are finally happening. But I wish the rest of it had been that way too.
They spent too much time teasing you. Like, there's this bank robbery stuff that's like this big of her past, which would have been nice to see some of that to build up to who she is. And I know they were trying to tease us with the flashbacks.
There were little flashbacks and scenes here and there.
But her and him, Finn Cole, finally take off to do stuff. That should have been, in my opinion, earlier in the movie. It been a longer, drung out thing, which we could have. At
least we could have been on the road and flashback into him and his issues, because there's a reason why he takes off with her.
This is the kind of movie that we have another movie that I have a problem with how that started. This movie needed that.
Yes.
This movie should have started out with them together and then went back and told both their stories and how they connected. And meanwhile, they could have been doing things and craziness and stuff. Yeah. It would have been a way more engaging film as a whole. It's not a bad movie.
No, it's just so
slow and monotonous. And
like you could go make dinner and come back and you'd still be okay.
You know what's crazy about it, though? One of the things that I kind of thought about was it almost gives you the feeling, because of its pacing, and I wonder if this was by design, of the Depression era you're in.
I think so. I think that was the other
because everything's dirty and poor, and
I think it's purposeful of the kind of despair and like there's nothing happening. There's nowhere to go. They're trying to raise their crops.
That mundane life.
And it's just that boring day to day. And I understand it, but for storytelling, it didn't work for me.
Up a little bit,
It did.
It was very hit and miss with me, and more miss than hit. Like I said, excuse me.
And I think the movie really, it's about the kid. It's not so, it is about her, but it's about him.
No, she's just
and his life and how he changes.
Because he has his own issues with his family that are not, even though she's the bad guy, there's bad people that he deals with and stuff. But yeah, it's one of those movies that the end half is worth checking the movie out, because it does have a good payoff and it's good. But to get there is so much work.
It's a lot of work.
Most people may not be able to stick with it.
Most people won't stick with it. So, I mean, by the time we got to it, I was like, we had only watched like 30 minutes. Okay. Man, it was rough.
Anyway, so Dreamland's available also on Blu-ray and DVD from Paramount. You can check it out if you like it. I just wanted to watch it because I like Margot Robbie anyway. This movie was actually, I think, shot a year or two before.
The Coronas?
Huh?
Before the Corona?
No. I think it was before. Well, yeah, but it was before.
Oh, before
I think it was like 2018 or 19 or something. So this is one that was probably shot. She does show her tatas in this one.
Yeah, I mean, there's still, again.
It's a selling point, I guess, for some people.
I guess. There's not much.
That's never enough of a selling point for me anymore. Now that I'm old.
There's not much there. Anyways, there wasn't much there.
That's not what I thought you said. All right. I'll tell you what I thought you said after the show.
Oh, God.
It's inappropriate to say right now.
All right,
next. Moving on. What else we got, sister?
Okay. Lots of things. Okay. Which way do you want to go over here?
Okay, we can talk about that one next.
This one?
Yeah, why not?
Okay. I like this one. Oh, I'm giving it away. That's a spoiler alert.
You want to tell everybody about this one?
So this movie is called The Climb. I don't know who the guys' names are. I guess I should. But, y'all, this movie's crazy. Okay, so basically this movie is about two friends, and I'm going to say that loosely. And
I think they're pretty.
It's weird.
It's a dysfunctional friendship.
It shows you in the preview that one of the guys is getting married, and his guy's like, "Oh yeah, I slept with your fiance."
But that was after he'd made him his best man.
Yes. Okay. So that's how the movie starts. And so from there, it's kind of like the downward spiral of what happens between the two of them and their friendship. And they don't talk for a long time. And then things happen. And it's funny and a little bit dramatic at the same time. I mean, it's interesting. And the poster was like, I laughed hard. I did too. I laughed a lot. I probably shouldn't have, but I did.
It's one of those movies it's told in like vignettes.
Yes.
It's like sections of their life.
We got to talk about the filmmaking of this.
Yeah,
that's a whole different thing.
The reason this movie, I when I finished it, when we finished watching it, I wasn't sure if
You
I
were
liked
like,
it or
huh.
not.
You
I sat with a few
those
days, and
movies.
then after I thought, when I sat down to write the review, I think I love this movie.
I
It's
like
funny.
the way it's told.
It's heavy at times.
It is heavy.
It's not the movie I thought it was going to be. I thought this movie was going to be about these bike riders and comedy and the relationship and these long discussions. I thought it was going to be one of those movies. Because that's how the trailer kind of sells it.
Yeah. But it's
the bike riding thing is literally the opening of the movie, and that's it.
yeah.
And it's that first discussion. Well, I mean, there's stuff with bike, but I'm just talking about the main bike riding thing.
I like the way it's shot. It's very interesting and a little bit different and strange, but I loved it. And you're like, what's with all this? But I liked it. It's so funny.
There's musical moments. I'll just say that.
Like a scene will happen. It's very heavy and depressing. And then these people will just be singing. And then it cuts to a couple of years later.
Yeah, it does fit into the narrative of what was going on in the scene.
Yes, the song goes with it.
Sort of. Like one does, one doesn't.
The one with the polka was a little bit off
in the ice.
Yeah,
that was weird.
But I liked it. I was like, okay,
that's the one that finally got me because there's another one in a funeral.
I love polka, so
but it seemed to fit because it felt like
it was a funeral type song.
A funeral. I'm like, okay.
Then there's a skiing montage thing, like ski dancers or something. But then they're skiing. So and I like it because it tells you story.
I think those
and a few years later,
those moments were kind of like the end caps of each of the stories before we moved to the next one. And it was interesting because the movie is ultimately it's about
them.
The despite the dysfunction of their friendship, how strong their friendship actually is. Because there's so much, so many things that go wrong. You have one guy that's very selfish, who can't get his crap together. Mm-hmm. You have the other guy who's willing to settle for anything because he just wants to have a life. Like love life. He's willing. He didn't even care if they love him. He didn't care if they even cheat on him. He's like, I just want somebody that's there for me, that I care about. Yeah. And he's kind of like that. The guy that somebody always leaves because they're like that, and the other guy is the one that no one wants to be with. They just want to bang him. Mm-hmm. But he offers nothing for a relationship, so nobody wants to be with him. So they both have things that the other wants, but they both want what the other has. Yeah. And it's kind of like having one person split into two personas, and that's why they connect. It's definitely opposites attract situation.
Very much.
Yet they're thrown together with like their families all the time. It doesn't ever really explain a lot of times like why they're suddenly okay hanging out again.
I don't think they are, but it's just circumstance brings them together every time.
Right. It's funny, but then by the end of it all, you realize they were both right about it all, and they probably belong together. Yeah,
they do, because nobody else will want them, probably. They're so crazy.
But it's very funny.
It is funny, but it is heavy. And I like that we're dealing with a lot of issues. I mean, it deals with a lot of family issues. And then it deals with like some drinking and drug issues. It does deal with relationship issues all over the place.
There's crazy women's.
Yeah, and then just
I like, too, that there's an interesting dynamic in there that, they've clearly been friends forever. Mm-hmm. And there's an element of like when the one guy shows up, the first time he shows up after the other crap happens, and you're like, you don't think they're going to, you don't expect them to be friends anymore. Mm-hmm. And then he shows up at the family at their house, and all the family embrace him because they like him. They don't like what he does, but they just consider him part of the family, and that's why he's there. And it has no concern of how it makes the other guy feel. No. Like there's even a moment later in the movie where he's like, you got to tell him how you feel right now. It's like a relationship situation, but asking he's okay because he gets hit, but he deserved to get hit.
He did.
But the dad of the other guy is like, are you okay? I'm like, no, that's not.
It's so very crazy. Weird. It's weird, but it's funny.
Yeah.
I liked it.
I did too. It's a quirky movie. It's
very quirky, and I loved the little weird musical interludes as we change scenes.
I think some people will probably be like, what the hell is this crap?
And that's okay. You can. Hey, you can think that if you want to. It's perfectly A-OK. Oh my gosh, you're a dummy.
Anyway, so The Climb is available now on, I think it's on Blu-ray and DVD. But
on the DVD.
Yeah. What else we got, sister?
Okay, hold on. Give me 1 second here as
Let's talk about the movie that you didn't really want to watch.
There's so many of those.
No, but this time we had that one that you didn't want to watch, and we ended up watching. I think you ended up really digging it.
Okay, well, hold on. I'm doing one thing.
Years later.
Hold on. You asked me to do something, so
I asked you to do this thing today. You could have just never minded about it now.
Well, no, because I think you needed it.
Well, I could have worked around it. I don't need all this now.
Well, too bad.
Now everybody just gets to watch you work. This is what I live with all the time.
All right, which one?
The one that you didn't really want to watch.
Oh, this one?
Yes. So the next one is actually a horror film that we were going to watch last week. Didn't get around to it for the show last week, but I talked her into watching it. I knew nothing about it other than what it was.
Right.
But it's a movie called The Cleansing Hour.
Yes.
It starts Ryan Guzman, who I believe is from 911.
Somebody call 911.
The series?
Yes,
right?
yes.
What is the other guy's name? The other guy's name, he's been in a ton of crap.
I don't know.
Wasn't he one of the ones from Veronica Mars? Wasn't he one of the brothers?
Maybe.
Oh, where's he at? The guy that was running the computers in the movie. Wasn't he one of the brothers?
I don't know.
If not,
I'm not paying attention to all that.
Kyle Gallner is the other guy. But anyway, he's been in a ton of stuff. But anyway, the movie follows this web series
Yes.
that these guys do about exorcism, essentially. And they become this major thing. One guy is father or somebody. The other guy's the tech guy. And of course, as you probably can easily figure out, when anybody deals with some exorcism stuff, real or fake, eventually the real crap's going to come get you in a movie.
Yes.
That's our movie.
Yeah.
So-
And it kind of tells you in the preview that it's probably not real. And then one day, bum, bum, bum.
Yeah, so
It is.
they essentially have become major hits because of these exorcisms. So things just
Correct.
go off the rails, is
Right.
essentially what happens. So what did you think?
I dug this movie so much.
Told you.
I was worried that it was going to actually be like an exorcist movie.
And it was.
But
But
it
it's-
wasn't like
it's not
creepy,
scary.
scary exorcist. This is
like
like
insane.
you best watch out exorcist. And I dug it because I was following everything and I was like, that's right. Don't do, I was all in it. You know me, because I'm all about all that stuff.
'Cause you're
Because
nuts.
I believe it is real. I'm not nuts.
You are nuts.
It is real.
Whether you believe it or not, you're still nuts.
That's okay. I'm eating. Would you like some nuts?
No.
Okay.
Offer me your leftovers over there.
Anywho, this movie is awesome. It does start off with them like really profiting on this. Like he's got his website, his
It's your job.
followers.
Yeah.
I mean, he's selling T-shirts and like it's one of those.
Banging chicks.
But I liked that in a way they made fun of, or brought to light and made fun of the people who do those religious websites that are like, buy this piece of cloth and it's gonna
Yeah,
give you
because there's a
whatever
whole thing
miracle.
where he talks about this exorcism did such and such, and we did this, and brothers and sisters have this, and don't forget we have new merch.
Yeah, so that I thought was clever, and I like that it's all like internet web series.
Yeah, it's very
based, so
much
it's very
capitalized on
modern.
people like ourselves doing.
Yeah, we're not going to sell you merchandise,
We
but
will
we might.
eventually.
But
Nobody will buy it, but we'll have it.
but that's okay.
But yeah, it's very much like what we do, and tons of thousands, billions of other people are doing, making shows or whatever online.
Mm-hmm.
And the difference is the show they had a very big budget with technology and makeup people and all the stuff that they were doing certain things with before things go horribly, horribly wrong.
Horribly wrong. The other thing that I did like, which I think people are probably not going to like, some of it, is the amount of gore and blood and guts.
There's a lot more blood in here than I
And
anticipated.
I really liked all the makeup effects in this. I think some of it was practical, some of it was probably CGI, but it was good.
It seemed like they used more CGI to enhance than they used to make it, because like there's a really good payoff sequence at the end of the film that is more prosthetic stuff than there is. It's a transformation kind of sequence, and I think rivals American Werewolf in London kind of level.
Really?
I thought so.
I thought it was good too.
And for a movie like
I was
this,
like, oh, it's gonna be. Oh,
for a movie like this, I always keep my expectations low on effects when it's a lower
we want to
movie, because you never know what budget they have, what time restraints they have, what access they have. So sometimes if the effects are a little cheese, or they have to do less is more and not show stuff, you kind of understand it, even if you don't like that.
Mm-hmm.
This movie went all in. They clearly had their budget. They figured out a way around it to make it work cheap if they did. But
It looked good. I like though too. A lot of it was just using what they had against the person. Like some of it was just your normal knife cutting, whatever. But it was to the way they shot everything. It looked really good.
Was it to the point no faking?
It was no faking. Anyways, here's the thing. You got to watch this movie.
It is awesome.
It's so good.
It was pretty dang good.
I liked the demon possession thing with that one chick. Whoever that one chick is, she's good.
She did
the
really
main
good.
chick
Yeah.
that you see in the poster, she did good.
They also, the movie's actually a Shudder original, which is on the Shudder streaming service. So if you don't get a copy of it on Blu-ray or DVD or whatever it's on, it's probably on Shudder. If you don't know what Shudder is a streaming service like Netflix or anything, but it's strictly horror films.
Yeah. So
like the TV show Creep Show is actually exclusive to Shudder. A lot of these movies come out, go there. So you're chasing them. If you like these kind of horror movies, possession movies, straight up horror flicks, it's not a scary movie. It's creepy at times.
It's a little creepy,
but it's a blast. I thought
it is. I don't want to say too much because I don't want to give it away, but it's so good. It really, really.
Yeah, we went in knowing nothing.
Yeah.
Other than what it was called.
I was worried that it was going to be a for real, like woo, in it.
A for real,
like woo.
And I'm very picky on my horror subgenres of possession movies because more often than not, they're not good. You know, you have iconic ones like The Exorcist, the Conjuring movies are awesome, the Insidious movies I love, but then for all of those, then you get 35 billion of, you know, these straight to video or independent films that try, but they just don't work. And this is one that's kind of up there.
Well, and I think the whole point is that they're making fun of the things that are like, oh, this is obviously fake and doesn't work. So they're doing it, but then you get that one thing where it's like, this one is probably real. And I like that whole. I mean, besides just the possession thing, I think you can't just completely trick people for so long until they find out.
I don't know. We've been doing it for a while with this dumb show.
I mean, we tell them up front. This is just a family show.
But we're
just hanging out talking about movies.
You're still here.
We're not professional. I mean, our dogs and cats and things have watched through.
We don't have cats anymore.
We don't anymore. They've gone to cat heaven.
Can we bring them back?
No, don't bring no trilobites or whatever.
Trilobite?
What is that?
In a cave. Cinnabites.
Cinnabites. Oh, trilobites were
Don't you bring any Cinnabuns.
Oh, bring Cinnabon. Anyway, you know what I meant. Cinnabites, the things that eat you. Anyhow, you need to check out the cleansing hour. It is so good. You will like it. Guarantee.
Or you'll be grossed out by it. Like we have friends that don't like gore. This is probably not.
Oh, but this is so good.
It is fun to watch.
It's so good.
Right,
and I like though. It also deals with like some childhood trauma, some abuse issues. Not in a good way, but we get through that. I mean, there's a reason why everything is the way it is.
And it's interesting that the spin and the twist of why.
I liked it all.
That's where I thought
it was all good.
The use of technology, keeping the idea of the possession stuff updated into this kind of realm, but also
it's good.
Harkening back to an element that's always plays out in a lot of horror films.
There's always why. There's always a reason why.
But I mean, that same, we'll just say the same church element, that same thing plays up in a lot of horror films.
Well,
and it's because it's horrific, and these are scary people.
These are scary times.
How they took that, but twisted it to make it something different for this.
Yeah, it was good.
It's available now, also on Blu-ray, DVD, and on Shudder.
On the Blu-ray and the DVD.
What's next, sister?
Let's see. What have we got? Da la la.
We're within 12 hours. She said, let's see what we got. And she does something else.
I'm doing something else while I'm watching the show.
You're not doing what you're supposed to be doing.
Okay, so now, let's see. Where do we want to go? Where do we want to go? No, we got more.
3 more.
You want to talk about this one?
Sure, why not?
Okay.
You want me to set it up while you finish your other thing?
Sure.
All right, our next one is one we actually saw almost a month ago. We've been waiting to watch it. And it was one that initially I was hesitant about seeing it because I thought it was going to be cheesy. It felt like a straight-to-video movie. The poster itself is kind of I thought it was going to be, not a Dove movie because it's not that kind of thing, but that kind of vibe.
A Dove movie.
Why did you put all that in there? That is not necessary.
What?
That picture. You just need the box. You don't need all that other stuff.
That was the best image I found.
But it's a movie called Born a Champion.
It is Born a Champion.
Have you posted it up? Or?
No, not yet.
Well,
you need to wait.
The story here. I'm trying to do a show.
I know. I'm on the same show with you, buddy.
Apparently you're not. Anyway, it's a movie called Born a Champion starring Sean Patrick Flannery.
That's all you need to know.
Most people will know him from Boondock Saints, Saw, Powder.
Young Indiana Jones.
Yeah, he's done a ton of stuff. He wrote the movie as well. It's also got Katrina Bowden in it and Dennis Quaid.
There you go.
So the premise of the movie is this guy who is a jiu-jitsu black belt slash MMA fighter who goes through some loss and tragedies and things. It's kind of that same idea story. And then he's dealing with different things, relationships and things and struggles. And it's got that kind of down and out fighter trying to find his way back, but he's trying to find more about life. It's that one of those kind of films. And I was surprised how damn good this movie was.
Yeah, this movie is so good.
I was really surprised.
I was like, Sean Patrick Flannery.
Well, she's in love with him.
That's all I care about.
She's in love with him, and I like him. I dig him.
He's a nice dude.
And he is a nice guy. Not only have we met him in person,
nice.
I interviewed him via Zoom for this movie.
On this movie, right?
Yeah, I haven't posted it yet, so don't look
guys.
But he's super nice. He's down to earth.
He really does jujitsu.
Yeah, I wasn't sure what his background was. I thought I'd heard that he done some martial arts. But not only does he do jujitsu, he actually owns a jujitsu school in Houston.
He's for real.
But it's not a school that I think it's an invitation only school in his backyard.
But here's the thing. I appreciate, like, I go back and forth. Like, I appreciate that he actually wrote and starred in something that he obviously cares passionately about.
Yeah, you can tell there's a passion in this movie. Yeah, because his character is, yes, he's a badass, but he's also not this unstoppable badass. Mm-mm. And the premise, the really, outside of the drama and the feelings from the martial arts side, someone like myself watching a movie like this as a martial artist, I also felt it was like a love letter to jujitsu. Correct. Not just, this guy does jujitsu, let's fight. Mm-hmm. Not like a movie called Jujitsu with no jujitsu in it. This is a movie.
That was another. Watch our show from like a few weeks ago.
Which I've been in discussion about that movie with other people. Master Ken, as a matter of fact, about that movie, Jujitsu. Anyway, but this movie, it's kind of a love letter, passion project about the importance of jujitsu, not just the fighting, and how it grounds you and life and everything else.
Well, okay, the interesting thing about this is he character gets invited to these fights, but his whole thought process is that it's all defense. Like, he doesn't want to really fight. He's not a fighter person.
Well, he is.
But he's like,
he's also kind of a cocky fighter.
Do my thing.
And he doesn't take a lot of it seriously. It was supposed to be an exhibition.
Yeah, so he was just going there to do his thing, have fun, and then it goes crazy.
Things go wrong.
They always do.
What I found interesting is, like, Dennis Quaid is barely in the movie.
Correct.
But he's a very important part of it.
He is so important too.
So it's not a case of just a cameo for promotion. He plays an important part of the part, even though he's a very small part. And it was a big twist of his involvement at the end.
Yes, this whole thing.
But I not only did I really, really like the movie, the story is good. It's engaging. But it's not.
And the fighting is good.
Yeah, and it's not just a bunch of fight scenes. There's a lot of training
story.
Montage stuff.
There's this we need a montage.
But there's a lot more about his personal life.
Yeah, there's a story about him and this lady, but him and his best friend, and just him and his past. I mean, it's really about his character and his growth and his evolution just as a human being, and how jiu-jitsu has helped him heal.
I don't think a lot of people really understand the truth behind traditional martial arts and its impact on individuals' lives. Mm-hmm. Outside of the punching and the kicking, because it does, in fact, if you have that mindset, like, anybody can go take a class and then you leave and it's just like taking another exercise class or just beating people up. But if you really embrace the martial arts aspect, it does ground you as a person, and it helps you focus in life. It helps you with your patience. It helps you with your respect, and
helps in everything.
It helps them as being a person. Like, I tell my students all the time, it's not just about making you be able to defend yourself in a fight. It's about making you a better human being. Yeah. Not everybody's going to get that. But this movie, that's really what it's about. It's this guy embracing
and how it really saves his life.
Yeah, and it's also, there is a great moment, though, that I did love that reminded me of a thing from my past, of another instructor where he works, who's kind of cocky and keeps wanting to challenge him because he gets jealous of him, essentially, because the other students like him. Yeah. But he's like a karate guy or something. Yeah. And the moment is, it's not even a full-on fight. It is, but it's kind of a private risk. And that part alone is he had the students leave and he locked the door and made it a private fight. It wasn't about...
but then the kids are like...
Yeah, it wasn't about embarrassing the instructor. It was about teaching him a lesson.
Correct.
But then he specifically says, here's what I'm going to do to you.
Yeah, he's like, I'm going to put I'm going to take this foot. No, that's another
he
movie.
does Billy Jack.
No, but he's like, I'm going to pin your
this.
arms and be here, and you're going to be like this, and I'm going to choke you out. He goes, and then when you wake up, I'm going to do it again. I was like, okay.
And he did.
The guy was all like, I'm like, oh.
But it also showed the humbleness of a real martial artist too, who comes back to him later.
Yes.
Kind of respectfully.
Yeah, they're kind of friendly.
So I like those elements. It wasn't always just about having a bad instructor and a good student or a fight. And, and that sequence plays up very much almost like a homage to Ip Man, where it has the private fight, the respect factor between two people gets blown up into something else unintentionally. One of my favorite parts of this entire movie, though, is the credit sequence, which is him and his real-life son training jiu-jitsu for like however really long the credits are running.
Yeah.
And when I interviewed, I had to ask him, because it didn't say that's who it is, but both the kids in the movie are his kid in the movie is his son.
Mm-hmm.
Is there one or two?
I think there were two different ones.
So I think they're both his sons in the movie.
Yeah.
But they're his real-life kids. And so I had to ask him, and when I interviewed him, I was like, yes. He goes, yes. He goes, I'm so glad you kind of caught that. But he said that was just shot on his phone as just a normal training sequence thing of them training at their house. And he showed me a picture during the interview. He holds his phone up like this. He goes, look, check this out. And it's like the picture of his school. Because I did the interview from inside my home dojo school. So, and the first thing he said when it came up, he goes, I see the mats. Somebody's in here going to do some rolling today. And I said, well, I do mostly taekwondo and Muay Thai, but I've done some jiu-jitsu. He goes, cool. So my interview, when it pops up, it talks about his martial arts background, but also the movie and stuff.
Yeah, I hope everyone from our classes will watch this movie, because it is really good.
It is really good.
It is really good. It's really about that whole martial arts spirit.
It is.
And how it can really change and impact your life. So I don't want to cry about it, but it gets me
cry,
in the feels.
Baby, cry.
It got me in the feels. I totally cried in this movie.
And it's ironically, because it's a smaller release, it's a movie that came out, it's out now in limited release theaters, but it comes out on Tuesday on DVD. So they did a quick turnaround, just like a short release, and then it'll get DVD. I don't know if it gets Blu-ray.
It'll get DVD'd.
And who knows? Maybe we'll have copies to give away. Maybe we won't. I don't know.
That'd be awesome.
We'll talk about that
anyway,
later.
Everybody needs to watch this movie. Born a Champion. You can be a champion too.
Now.
All right. Now where do we go?
We got one more?
This one.
Oh.
We're going to talk about this one?
We'll talk about that one first. That other one's one of the biggest movies of the weekend.
All right. Here you go.
Tell us about it.
This movie is called Locked Down, and it stars Anne Hathaway, and I don't want to say the name wrong. I have to. Chiwetel Ejiofor.
That's what we'll say. It is a movie that was an HBO Max exclusive.
I know
film.
I got Ejiofor right.
That's fine. It's an HBO Max film that we checked out, and from the title, it's a lockdown movie based on
being in lockdown in Corona. All right, guys.
But in this situation, are they married?
They
are just an item.
They are a long-term item.
Who were in the midst of breaking up.
Yes.
And then lockdown happened.
Corona hit, so they couldn't even separate. So they've been stuck this whole time in a horrible fighting relationship, living on separate levels of the house, trying to avoid each other, and just annoying the heck out of each other. Can you imagine?
It's another movie.
Woo!
It's not, but this is another movie that felt very like stage production like.
It did.
Initially, because it gets bigger in the second half of the film. But the majority of the film is them two talking to people via Zoom or online.
Or just sitting and yelling outside the window across.
Other neighbors and whatever. So,
man.
All right. So what did you think? I think we have different opinions on this movie this time.
I enjoyed each of their performances. Mm-hmm. I don't think I enjoyed the movie as a whole.
I was just the opposite. No, I mean, I enjoyed the performances. I enjoyed the movie because it was I think it fully captured the mundane, boring existence
Maybe that's what
of
I didn't
pandemic
like.
life.
Maybe that's what I didn't like.
Because this movie
I don't like being bored.
Well, and that's the thing. The entire premise of this movie is I think it's making you feel like you're in quarantine.
Yeah. In a way, it was interesting because it's kind of where he's just there not really doing much, but she's still working.
Yeah.
And so to me, this entire time, I never stopped working.
This is like us. Yeah. You kept working.
I never stopped working. There were a lot of times where I've still been to the office, for extended periods of time here and there.
You were home for a month or so.
I was home for a month or so, 6 weeks, and then we went back, and then I've been home again for another month or two, and then we're going back. So, I mean, the pandemic hasn't been as emotionally devastating to me because I've kept working. Yeah. Nothing in my routine has changed.
I did too, but my just schedule got
You've
upended
been
and
at home,
twisted.
though.
Yeah, I've had to start teaching
See, and
everything virtually.
I haven't had to stay home for an extended amount of time. And even so, I don't mind being at home. I'd rather be here than anywhere else, except maybe church. I don't want to leave. Why would I leave?
Or to the movie theater.
I do love to go eat.
She loves going and doing everything except for having to go to work. I'm starting to see a pattern here.
Oh, well, you know.
My thing with it is I thought it was an interesting take on our current situation and getting to see it while you're still living it, even though things aren't as bad as they might have been, say, beginning of last year when all this was going on. But it's feeling that same vibe and being in the UK,
correct,
where it was a total lockdown.
Yes, absolutely.
As opposed to us being a half-ass lockdown.
Well, I think especially here in Texas, everybody does what the heck they want.
I know, but him going out in the streets and reading poetry and irritates her, but everybody in the neighborhood loves it because it gives them something to do.
It would irritate me too.
But I think it's
maybe that's why I didn't like it. I was irritated.
And here's what's funny: is the movie is a relationship movie. It's dealing with this relationship issues. There's a little bit of laughs to it.
Yeah.
And then suddenly it becomes a heist movie.
And it's work drama. Yeah, it becomes weird.
But the heist drama, which I thought was going to be like, that doesn't make any sense. But it actually makes total sense of what it sets up. Because it's that, it's a little ridiculous in the bigger scheme of things. But it's the idea of the fact that they've been stuck together in this horrible situation of not just a bad relationship now, but also the public pandemic situation. It gave them something exciting because they talk about how a lot of relationships, they're like, a lot of relationships fall apart when there's no spark there anymore. There's no excitement in the relationship anymore. They found this exciting thing with the intent. This is going to be the thing that helps them get away from each other. We're going to work together. We're going to get out of here. And it kind of brings them together. Yeah. Even though it doesn't rebuild their romantic relationship per se, brings them together only for it to capitalize the ending of how real life is right now.
Yeah, it's like, hey, the pandemic's been or lockdown's been extended. So that's why I'm telling you, this to me was the movie that went nowhere.
But see, I think it went everywhere. And I think that's the idea. Is like it wasn't about the pandemic.
Nothing happens, babe. At the end of everything,
everything that happens with the two people.
I guess.
But it's not about
but nothing happens.
Where they're going at the end of it is that they've accepted their lot together. They've kind of got over the issues they had. They found a different way to connect. They're ready to move on. But now it's like that the same thing happens to them that happened to them before.
Time. Yeah.
So now it's like, are we about to just fall back into that, or can they actually keep rebuilding? So I think it's supposed to be frustrating. Just
it
like
was.
The pandemic and being locked down is.
It was. So I guess.
I enjoyed the movie, but I do recognize how it can be horribly boring. It can be unconnecting.
But they're both good.
Yeah.
That's a good thing.
I
liked him better. In this one, I liked him better. Anne Hathaway's always good, but he is good.
Yeah, he had more meat to do.
He had a lot more to do.
Yeah, because she was having to be the professional. Although I do like that they fully capitalize on the fact that she's like your life, business on top, sleeping time on bottom. Yeah. When you have to work from home or something like that. So it's a good movie, but like I said, I do understand and completely get what you're saying.
I mean, there's some good moments and some fun moments and some heartfelt things. So I mean, it's good. They're both good. Just be
prepared to watch people talk, because that's all this movie really is.
It's a talkie.
Even the heist there's a lot of conversations and diatribes and stuff. So it was interesting.
Yep. Alrighty.
So it's available now on HBO Max.
Okay, we are down to our last movie for tonight, which I hope everyone watched.
This movie is trending in, I think, the number 2 movie, definitely in the top 10 movies around the world.
Well, this was the new Netflix movie of the week.
Netflix movie called
The White Tiger.
Oh goodness. The dog too. The dog was leaving and came back for that.
Oh my goodness. Anyways, come over here, dog. Come over here. Come over here.
So who's this in this movie?
So this has the Priyanka Chopra Jonas.
It does.
And then I don't know who the other young man's name is, but the main guy, he's good, y'all. I just got to throw that out there. I've never seen him in anything, but I also don't watch Indian movies regularly. What? So what do I know?
Adarsh Gaurav. I don't know if I said that right.
Well, our Indian friends could correct us.
And then also
they probably didn't watch it.
And then, of course, Priyanka Chopra Jonas.
Yes.
Adarsh
Kumar. Okay.
So tell us what this movie's about.
So this movie is about this young man named Balram who gets a job.
His name Balrog?
Balram.
Oh.
He finagles his way into a job as a driver for a rich family. And, since he's a driver, he's around everything that's happening. But of course, he's treated as a servant, so he just sits there quietly. But he finds out some things, and madness ensues.
That's right. Here's I love this movie. But.
Okay.
What did you think before I go into my issue? But we have the same issue, I think, on part of it. But what did you think as a whole?
I liked it as a whole. I really enjoyed it.
My big issue with this movie is
you say the film the way it's told?
The way it's told is the only issue I have with this movie, because it's a kind of story that you want to see how it unfolds and the little twists and the turns and be like, oh, yeah, he's going to get you, that kind of thing. And that stuff is all there. The problem is the movie starts out at the end, so you already know where the character ends up, what the characters... You don't know what he's done yet, but
Correct.
You already get an idea of how it's going to play out. And to me, then took some of the impact away, because I'm not as concerned for him
for his safety
in certain
or
things,
his life
because I already
or
know I already know that he's going to get to this stage or this position. Or
I got you. Yeah, this would have been better told just linearly, straight from beginning to end.
Yeah, because
it could have had more impact.
Even though it's not about crime or anything else, there's elements of that there, but it's one of those that you can look at as kind of like a mob story.
Correct.
It's not that, but it's that idea of somebody rising up from poverty and nothing to becoming this powerful person. And in the trailer, it shows that. And I was concerned when I saw the trailer that it's kind of had already told us the same thing. It doesn't take away from how good the movie actually is.
Correct.
I just would have preferred to see it all unfold kind of in real time. Not real time, but in chronological order.
Just start,
so that I would, to me, it would have been more powerful at the end of that. But it's based on a book, and that's probably how the book was written.
Correct.
So you give that, but anyway.
Oh, well. I enjoyed this movie. I like that we get kind of the inside look into just the culture and society and how it works with, obviously you're rich and you're poor, and there's not really a whole lot in between. Whereas here, there's a lot of levels of what rich and poor may be.
It was interesting because I think I wrote in the review about how it's a great movie for what it is, but it also serves dual purposes of not only just being an entertaining movie and a great story, but it's also serving kind of an inside look from, say, us, U.S. people or people that are out in India, about not only their life, but their cultural standings and how so many people are brought up believing that their whole life is to be servitude. Yeah. And they're fine with that. They feel successful.
And I think some of them feel very lucky that they even have the job as a servant.
Yeah, like him becoming a driver was a big deal.
Yeah, and he had to finagle his way.
And it was not easy. Perfectly happy staying said driver forever. Yep. Had other circumstances not come up or other people.
Well, and there may not be other opportunities.
Well, and Priyanka's character kind of serves as not only an Indian character, but the connection to the U.S. mentality.
Yeah, so she was obviously born and raised in the U.S.
Yeah.
So she's got a different mentality on their society, seeing it from the American eyes.
Yeah, so
that was interesting.
I thought that was an interesting way to bring an American in without bringing an American in.
Correct.
Because this is an all-Indian cast.
Yes, which I love.
Yeah, I did too. I like the culture aspect of it. I like seeing, every level of it. I like seeing, you have the people that are always bad. You have the people that are really good people, but when they're around certain people, they act differently, and how that can, because we've all been around that friend or that person we know that you really connect with, but then when they get around their family or they get around the boss or their other friends, they treat you like crap. But then when you see them later on, they treat you like your friends again, and it drives you mad. Yeah, that's kind of this movie, and I think it played up well, especially like I said with that culture aspect.
Yeah. I liked it, and I liked the main guy, Balram.
He was
good.
Surprisingly, he not only pulls off the whole poor, impoverished villager with very little, schooling, but he is able to elevate himself in the film do you believe both characters?
Correct.
When he actually has a little more knowledge or starts understanding,
Yeah.
you see an evolution of him, and it's shown in his appearance,
Mm-hmm.
and it's shown in his behavior.
Yes.
Which I thought was really interesting.
The other thing, though, the one thing that did make me mad was his dang family.
Oh, his family. Oh,
his family was just like, I was like, oh no.
Yeah, they were all. But
I get it.
We were going to have a guest on the show today, and I wanted to ask that specific question, but they didn't finish watching the movie.
They did watch the movie.
I thought they fell asleep.
And part of it.
Oh, well, then they didn't watch the movie.
But they did. Because first of all, his family was like, no, you're not going to go get a job. You're going to get married. And so he goes and gets this job. And they didn't want him to have the job, but then they're like, oh, but send us all your money because we deserve it. No, you don't.
He said later, like, you didn't bring us any money.
And this is why I don't talk to family. I don't know.
This is why we're about, what is this dog doing?
I don't know. He's sitting on top of the...
Sabine,
why are you sitting on him?
Jesus.
Oh, my Lord. Hi. Welcome to our very professional show with the dog. Anyhow,
anyway,
The White Tiger, it's the must-see movie of this
really good.
week.
And Priyanka's been posting stuff all over about it, really promoting it. And
she's not as great as I would want her to be. She's good.
I thought she was awesome in the movie.
I think she's good, but I think there's people that are better.
Well, there's always somebody better.
I'm just saying.
I
don't know what all the hype is about. I guess is what I don't understand.
About what?
Her.
Oh, I think she's really good in everything.
I mean, she's okay.
I don't think it's about hype. I just think I think
there's a lot of hype.
Well, I don't think it's so much as a lot of hype. I think you hear about her because she married to a Jonas, but she's also
a supermodel.
She was also a model. She's also had TV series. She also had.
Now maybe I need to go watch something else because I'm not convinced.
You know, she
was good.
She's always good. I love the woman, but she's got more to her than just being an actress in a movie.
Okay.
Which, you hear somebody
like a model.
Like say like a Heather Graham we talked about. If you don't see her in a movie for a while, you don't hear about her anymore.
Yeah, sure.
Because she's not married to somebody famous and she's not in this. But
I'll have to go watch it. Okay, I've been recommended. Go watch her in the Pink Sky.
She was already established as big well before she became a Jonas.
I know. No,
wife,
I know. But I just thought she was a model. I don't see her. I don't know. I don't see her winning an Academy Award right now.
I can see that.
Maybe in the future.
I can see her getting.
Maybe I need to go back and watch some other stuff.
What I'm starting to see
I'm not trying to get down on her.
What I'm starting to see is jealousy against another dark woman. This is brown on brown crime.
You're so dumb.
This is a brown woman hating on another brown woman because this movie wasn't about your Hispanic people.
Oh, what?
Don't get jealous.
I'm not. I love Indian movies.
Because you got stuck with
They're very dramatic.
You're a brown woman. We got stuck with this fluffy guy.
I love you,
fluffy guy. Got a Jonas.
I don't really want a Jonas.
Probably would have. He was there and then you saw his houses and his money. And,
well, yeah, maybe so.
Jonas. I'll take a Jonas with abs.
I'll take a Jonas, please.
One Jonas, please.
One Jonas.
Anyway.
Yeah, I'm going to get the one that you never see in it. Not the skinny one or this one, but the other one.
They're all remarried now.
Whatever.
Anyway. The White Tiger is available now exclusively on Netflix.
We digress.
It's really, really good. Check it out. Priyanka is not the star of the movie. She's kind of a secondary character. She's in the movie a lot, but not as much as that main guy. So it's really about him. But it's an interesting narrative. Like I said, my only issue in the entire movie is just that kind of giving up the goods too early.
Yeah.
On some level, and I just would have preferred it the other way. That's it. I'll wait while she chats with people over there.
Now, what are we talking about now?
I think it's it.
All right.
I think now we got to talk about the other stuff.
All right. Tell me what's going on.
All right. So we got a lot of giveaways happening right now.
Okay.
Since I don't know what you're throwing up on the screen now, I'll just have to tell them. We got 4 brand new giveaways.
I'm going in that order.
Okay. I don't know what the order that is. Just in that order.
Okay.
So today we're going to throw up the giveaways on the screen. So is it just one at a time?
Yes. Yeah, because you want to talk about them.
Oh, okay. I didn't know how you were doing it. All right. So the first one is a movie, the latest from Well Go USA, called The Swordsman.
Uh-huh.
I don't know a lot about it yet. I haven't watched the movie yet, but it does. Start again. But I believe it's a blind swordsman situation.
Love it.
It looks pretty badass.
I'm in.
And I do know that one of the guys from the Raid is in it somewhere.
Oh, that's all that
we're
we
super excited for that. We have copies of that to give away.
Next.
Then we also have copies of a movie we talked about here with Joe Magdalena called Arch Enemy that we're giving away. It's kind of a...
Also Joe Manganiello.
So I just said. Joe Magdalena. Anyway,
Mr. Sofia Vergara.
It's kind of a superhero flick that I really dug. I think you were okay with it. You didn't like it as much.
I didn't like parts of it, but the ending, and well, it still leaves much to the imagination.
And I think that's why I like that. I like that kind of stuff. But anyway, we got copies of Archimmy we're going to be giving away. The next up, we also still have copies of Synchronic, which is a movie starring Anthony Mackie and Jamie Dornan from 50 Shades of Boredom.
Yep.
And Falcon from Marvel and everything else. But we're giving away copies of that. The two guys that made the movie are also going to be headlining the Moon Knight series. I'm super excited for. So we'll be talking about that. And next one up is another movie from Mogo USA called Random Acts of Violence. It is directed by Jay Baruchel, who's the voice of from How You Train Your Dragon guy.
Oh, okay, cool.
He directed it. Based on a comic book. I don't even know what it's about.
It looks about some killer dude in a
something
big suit.
like that. But we're giving away copies of that. And lastly, we're giving away the second chapter in the Feng Shen cinematic universe, Jiang Zaya, which is a great little animated flick. It's a sequel, not a sequel, but it's a continuation in the same universe as Leg Za. It's another animated film that we gave away copies of. So check it out.
Okay. And then there are things coming out that we need to be watching. So scheduled, well, this is limited release. When does it actually, this one?
Yeah, but we're going to be talking about it next week. So
okay, scheduled to come out this week in limited release is the new Wrong Turn movie. Now, is this a redo of the first one?
It's essentially a remake, a reimagining
of the first one.
Because the original film, there's 6.
Okay. Now, the original Wrong Turn had Eliza Dushku.
That's the only one that got a theatrical
release. The only one I watched because at the time I was watching Buffy and I was a fan.
One. That was the big one, and then the rest of them, which were the only other one that I know detailed was the second one, which is I believe it's Wrong Turn 2, Dead End, that Joe Lynch directed, who's a director I like.
Okay, so check that out. It's basically these backwoods
cannibal,
crazy people killing people. Okay, then coming out on Netflix on Wednesday is a movie called Penguin Bloom. It stars Naomi Watts, Reese Witherspoon, a bunch of people. So I'm going to be watching that because it's Netflix. Yeah. Coming out Friday, nationwide.
Looking forward to that one.
The Little Things.
This one is another one that is a theatrical and HBO Max release with Denzel Washington, Rami Malek, and Jared Leto.
Yeah, so we will be watching that. It looks like about that's the one where they're trying to catch that serial killer, but it's weird because Denzel's kind of a detective, but it kind of sounds personal. Like
he looks like a sheriff, sort, but he's taking it very personal.
And Rami Malek's like the new cop or whatever, so it looks interesting.
Jared Leto is the suspect.
Yeah, that's limited. Okay, you just posted about this coming to Apple TV. It's a new movie called Palmer. It's about a guy who spent 12 years in prison and he's getting back out. He was like the school football star, and now he's getting out. And it stars
Justin Timberlake, and it's directed by Fisher Stevens.
The only thing you need to know is June Squibb is in it.
You're in. Do you know who Fisher Stevens is?
He was that young guy that was looked like that lifeguard thing, or he was one of the Hardy Boys. Wasn't it? Isn't it him with the wafty hair in the 70s? Oh, wrong guy. Wrong Stevens.
Yeah.
Who am I?
Stevens?
No, not Cat Stevens.
Fisher Stevens is, he was in the movie Short Circuit.
Yes.
He's the
I'm thinking Parker Stevens.
Yeah, I know who you were thinking. Oh, Jesus. Fisher Stevens was the one that played the Indian guy in Short Circuit, but is in fact not Indian.
Oh.
There's another one of those you probably shouldn't be playing.
Okay.
Anyway, he's a great director.
So doesn't matter. Okay, video demand and digital, something called Savage State.
Is that Western one?
It's about an American Civil War that breaks out. Guess what? That could happen at any time.
It's happening already.
Also, video demand and digital, something called Savage. It looks
not pronounced Savage.
It might be Savage. It looks interesting. It's basically a New Zealand street gang movie, so it seems interesting. Coming out on the Netflix, The Dig, starring Carrie Mulligan and Ralph Fiennes, or Fiennes.
Ralph Fiennes.
Video demand and digital, The Night. It's about some guy. I don't know. This is interesting because it's. I think it's based in like this Iran thing. This Iranian couple goes out at night and they come home and something crazy happens in the night. Okay, Netflix, Finding Ohana. So these people go out
Find Ohana?
They're trying to reconnect with the world of nature in Hawaii. They're trying to find it. Video demand and digital, something called Haymaker. It's about a Muay Thai fighter. So I'm assuming we're going to watch it. No idea what it's about. And that's it. Because this, I think, isn't really until next week. That one looks interesting.
He was like,
right?
Colin Firth in it.
Colin Firth and Stanley Tucci, who I love. It's the movie Supernova. If it's coming out near you, go watch it. If not, it'll probably be wide release next week. It looks interesting. All right. That's the end of January already. Can you believe it? Babe, don't open the cube. Evil. It's
we'll
evil.
do it online. You know the followers we'll get? At least your Pinhead. All right.
Pinhead doesn't come immediately, does he? Isn't it?
It usually opens up and I mean
the lackeys.
The chains come out and hook you and pull your skin off and
then you're
thing first, yeah, and then all the Cenobites come in. This week we have there's not a ton of stuff coming out, but Synchronic is actually hitting this week on Blu-ray and DVD, which is this movie. Also, the movie Southland Tales, which is a Richard Kelly movie starring Dwayne Johnson and Sarah Michelle Gellar. Mandy Moore.
This was years ago, though.
Yes, years ago. The Arrow Video is re-releasing it. It also includes the extended cut that was shown at Cannes Film Festival. I watched it today. If you have time to watch it,
yeah, I'd like to. I remember watching it.
It's a movie that was panned and did horribly back when it got released, but has since found a cult following. I rewatched it today for the first time since it came out. I think it was like 2006. 6?
Yeah.
The movie takes place in 2008, so it's kind of a future to the movie, but it's a strange movie, but we'll discuss it later on. Also coming out is Doom Patrol Season 2, which you can also check out on HBO Max if you haven't watched it. The movie we'll talk about next week, Batman Soul of the Dragon, the latest in the DC animated universe films will come out. It's a full-on 70s martial arts flick that we'll be talking about.
They kill it in their animated films.
They struggle with some of the live action, but their animation.
If you need to follow their animated series, and as people that go back, Marvel Cinematic Universe, that's great. Their animated features is where it's at.
Yeah,
they've always
this latest one. I can't wait for us to talk about it. I've already seen it twice. I watched it on a big screen theater here, and then I rewatched it with this one today. So that might tell you what I think about it. But it's a full-on 70s.
Spoilers.
And we'll talk about it. But
it is full-on 70s.
Yeah, so full-on 70s. Yeah, music and everything. And then not full necessarily lastly because I'm sure there's stuff. But we already talked about this. Fat Man is coming out on Blu-ray and DVD, and I haven't told you yet. And I got a Twitter message from the writer-director of the film, thanking us for my review and my nice words about it.
Good. It was good. That's why.
And I heard that they may be trying to work out a sequel. He said that everybody was interested in doing it. They just got to work out logistics and time.
Or a prequel would be interesting too.
Somebody just asked.
So much.
The reason I saw it is because the guy responded. The writer-director responded to me on my review posting, thanking me for my kind words and enjoying the film and blah blah blah. And then somebody responded to that to him. Is there a sequel? And in turn, he responded that we're working out logistics. We want to do one, but it's going to be time and availability. So anyway, if you haven't seen Fat Man, check it out.
It is really good.
And who knows? Maybe we'll have giveaways of that soon too.
So, all right. Well, that's it for today. Thank you so much for watching this week's episode of Hollywood Matrimony Live. Don't forget to check out our website, hollywoodmatrimony.com. And of course, you got to click the contest button. That's where all the free stuff is. Thank you so much for watching us live on Facebook and the YouTube. Don't forget to find us on Instagram and Twitter.
We'll be back for another episode of Hollywood Matrimony Live next Sunday. I don't know when we're going to start our other shows, so I'm not going to start telling you about them anymore. Just make sure you subscribe like the pillow says. Always do what the pillow says. And we'll see you next week. Peace and love.
Peace be with you.